Hi, everybody. I am Heather Binning. I am one of the founding members of the Women's Rights Network. Here behind me, got the right finger. We're going to be doing a series of podcast videos to put out for your information, and there are going to be a series of conversations that I shall be having with the lovely Jess, one of our members, Jess, that many of you may know already. So hi Jess, hi everyone. I'm going to tell you about what I've been doing in the last week. It's been non-stop just before the last week. So a week and a bit, I was at the Festival of Ideas in Westminster. Many of the members were at that festival, and it was absolutely, we had to stand there. So our presence there amongst all the great and the good. It's a 2-day festival, so it was fairly intense, but the panel discussions, I think, went really well. There's a lot of video clips on YouTube, and I think if you want to have a look at the Battle of Ideas website, you'll see some of the conversations that took place. But it was really inspirational, I think.
What conversations did take place with the Battle of Ideas? Like, any notable gender critical comments? What did people's attitudes seem to be like?
Well, that's interesting because it wasn't specifically about this ideology or any gender critical movements, although of course there were big parts of it. I think most of it was about free speech, and the Battle of Ideas is the battle to explore ideas regardless of whether you might offend somebody, but if we can't have the conversations to explore innovative, radical ideas, we don't get to move forward as a society.
Well, it's barely radical saying that a woman is an adult human female.
Well, you could say that's the most fundamental radical issue that we have to deal with. But there were lots of issues. There was talk about Ukraine. There was lots of different political discussions going on. There was a civil service conversation, although interestingly, that conversation did keep returning to this ideology and how difficult it is for civil servants in the current climate to be able to be doing a good job. So it was kind of stop bashing servants. There's lots of us here that are trying to do it regardless of what else is going on. So it was great. We did have some videos out there. There's a video of a young girl, the observed female at birth, but calls herself Michael. There were people there from all representations, which was really good to see. We could have those discussions, and she obviously felt comfortable enough to get up and make a few points, although she was a little bit upset about some of the things the panel had been saying. But that's the first time, I think, there's been a large meeting or a group of people meeting where there's been representation from across the viewpoints at that, and that was really good to see, and I hope that there's more of that. I'll certainly look forward to it next year because I think it will build. It can only build and move forward from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think towards the average person, they have this very negative view because of what the media has depicted, of what our institutions, our education system, and things like TikTok have depicted as well, of gender critical views being bigoted and hateful. And that's so far from the truth. So I think discussing these ideas in the marketplace of ideas is so essential. I think that's why things like the Battle of Ideas is so important.
It is. You're absolutely right. Spot on. It was great. There was also a good representation across the age spectrum. It's nice to be talking to you. We're at either ends of this age spectrum because so often people with the views that we have are caricatured. Domestic zombies and grey-haired old ladies. Do you know when I was younger, we used to talk about blue-haired old ladies, meaning old ladies, because when your hair goes white, you use a blue shampoo to apparently make it look bright. And so it ends up being a bit blue. So we used to talk about blue-haired ladies, but now that phrase has got entirely a different set of connotations attached to it. So then my week went on, working through the week, but on Friday went to the LGB Alliance conference in Queen Elizabeth Centre in London. And that was fabulous. And I understand from everybody that I wasn't there last year, but I understand from those that were there last year that attendance was up threefold on, at least threefold on last year's event. So that's great. It was really great to see so many people and hear so many people. It was a day packed with discussion. So again, the same format. They would have speakers that would talk and then some audience interaction. It was really interesting and valuable. Two really good things came out of it from my perspective. One is that Shay, who, and I can't remember the name of I don't have the details with me, who she did it with, but she did in ours, or they did in ours, presentation on social media and TikTok and how these ideas have been taken over the last 10-15 years and how they've developed on TikTok and how young people have got caught up in it. It was really fascinating. I'm hoping there'll be a chance somewhere for that to go online for people to see, because I think it was so interesting, particularly for my generation that don't necessarily understand the growth of Tumblr and TikTok, how they've come about and how they are used by the new generations, because it's maybe just a step too far for those of those who have finally got their way around Twitter.
I think with TikTok and social media, it's kind of crazy to me because in 2016, where people like Ben Shapiro came about, and there were all these compilations, very popular viral compilations of Ben Shapiro destroying college liberal and college campus for saying that there's more than two genders or that they can't define what a woman is. Whereas nowadays, like, that's pretty much like the average thing. If you go up to the street, because I've done this on multiple occasions, and people think like I edit it out. I really don't. The first one I did, I tried to get a range of like views from different backgrounds. Like, I asked older people, I asked younger people, and even the older people couldn't define what a woman was. And I don't know if that's because of social media, I don't know, but I think social media and lockdown has played such a big part in it. Because with TikTok, for example, it's not even like there's accounts dedicated towards trans ideas. It's just that there's prominent accounts of like influencers who just casually mention these ideas. They casually have their pronouns in their bio, and that's what leads people to normalize and accept these ideas.
Yes, you're spot on, and that's some of that was explored in this presentation at the LGBT Alliance. You were talking about TikTok or social media influencers, because I don't know if he's on TikTok or not, but the chap that does sort of 62 days of womanhood or something. What was that? Tell me about that. Touch on that.
Yeah, so I don't know how politically correct we have to be for YouTube, but this person who identifies as a woman called Dylan, they're a performer, and I think over lockdown maybe they came on TikTok and they introduced this new series, Days of Being a Girl. Notice how it's girl, not woman as well. And it's really interesting because they just use stereotypes of femininity. Like, this person goes on a walk in heels and like a short skirt. It's like, no woman does that. They're dancing around. they get like, they scream when there's a bee or something. Like, you'd think it would be someone doing a parody, like a misogynistic parody of what a woman is. But this person is taken very seriously by not only private companies like beauty brands. This interview with it was a beauty cosmetic thing I think it's more prominent in America, with this other, I believe they're non-binary person, and this person had long hair, makeup, but they also had this massive beard, and they were discussing girlhood, these two biological men discussing what it means to be a woman. And it's just like, what message does this send to the girls who are going through like girlhood, actual girlhood, and they see these biological men as their inspirations.
It's so hurtful. It's so insulting, isn't it? I've seen a couple of little clips of the person I think you're talking about, And it's just, you're right. It's screaming. It's all about being dumb as well. So it's the thing that I've seen. Day 62, and I've forgotten what I'm doing or something, and it's so insulting. Uh, and I, maybe it's a comedy. Maybe it's supposed to be comedy. But
But
it's just
I don't think it is comedy because this person was, they went to the White House to meet and interview Joe Biden.
no.
Yeah, and like obviously I don't think Joe Biden is aware, like he's not aware of many things. I don't think he's aware of this TikTok influencer. So obviously like some woke social media staff must have thought it was a good idea to talk about trans rights to the president
Uh-huh.
of the United States. This person who has this awful caricature of what a woman is gets celebrated for that and meets the president of the United States.
Isn't it terrible? And you said there about trans rights. He is not. This person is not representing trans rights. He's representing one aspect of it, which is, in my view, from seeing it, it's the AGP aspect of it, because it
What's that?
covers
Sorry.
the autogynephile. The people that get it's a fetish. The people that get a kick out of being perceived to be a woman. They love themselves,
I'm
basically.
not really sure why this person does it because the, I don't know whether that's their normal personality that's just bubbly, and because that's a possibility in itself. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know whether, like, I do have sympathy with this person. You have to have sympathy with these people who hate themselves so much, like that they think they have to go through all these medical procedures. You have to have sympathy with them. Of course, that sympathy ends when you hurt other people. But
Yes,
at
it
the
does.
end of the day,
But but Jess, I don't think this person we're talking about has any intentions of going through medical surgery.
I mean,
So I
they've
think there's a difference there. So the motivations for this person to be behaving the way he is very the way they are is very different. I think I
yeah,
mean, this is part of the struggle. It's all That's why people find it easier to say, "Oh, it's confusing. It's
yeah.
all too confusing and complex." They're worried about using the wrong words and getting it wrong. B, they're frightened of saying what they really think, and so to take the door that says confused, is the easy way out, and that's the way too many people are.
What annoys me about it is the fact that it's majority women supporting this person. Like, if
Mhm.
you look at the comments, it's all women and teenage girls as well. Like, they're the ones who are following this person, giving this person a platform, despite the
I
implications
know.
of it, and it just baffles me.
It baffles me. Yeah, it absolutely baffles me too. Well, moving on. Moving on. The other thing that came out of the LGB Alliance conference was I met up with a gentleman that I've worked with in a previous life, Simon Fanshawe, and many people watching will know him. He's a journalist and broadcaster. He works in diversity. He was a founder of Stonewall. He left Stonewall in 2019. So I took the opportunity to grab him and say, would he come and do one of our Women's Rights Network weekly Zooms with us? And lo and behold, we got it there and then secured for 6:30 this Thursday, the 27th. So anybody watching this who doesn't already know about it, look out for the Zoom link that will be available. That's for members only, and it's really good. He's entertaining. He's very knowledgeable, and you'll be able to ask some questions of his experience and knowledge. He's interesting. This is only the third man we've had on the weekly Zooms, so that's an honoured position I think he's in there. So, do you know Simon Fanshawe? So he's my generation, really, not your generation. I don't know if he cuts through to.
Yeah,
If,
I'm not really aware.
well, it's useful. Plug in and give it a listen.
Absolutely.
Then we went on to Philia over the weekend. So the Philia conference in Cardiff. It was a 3-day conference, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That was just magnificent. Hundreds, thousands of women there in Cardiff. Cardiff did a great job. The Women's Rights Network in Cardiff, our own Kathy, did a fabulous job and led it with Merchant Cymru. Apologies for bad pronunciation. They did a rally against no for stopping violence against women and girls on the Saturday. It was pouring with rain. So big hats off to everybody that was out there. I'm afraid my feet got very wet and I didn't last. I didn't last the whole rally. I have to say, I didn't have a hat. I didn't have an umbrella, so I was pretty ill prepared for the rain, which made quite a strong appearance in Wales over the weekend. But that was really good, and there was some. Again, it wasn't just about this aspect of women's rights. It was women's rights across the board and across the world. And there was some really inspirational speakers. There was some, fabulous discussion about some of the issues that women are facing across the world. So again, look on the Filia website. I'm sure there will be some links to some of the discussions that took place. But really good of impact to me was Nazadine Zagaya Radcliffe, who talked about her time in prison in Iran, and also since she'd left, and talked about the hunger strikes that actually Filia had organised, and also there was a sports session with fabulous people. I would start naming people because I'll forget who was there. They were really good. One of the really interesting ones was the sports mum, if people might remember, the mother of one of the American swimmers who was in a team with Leah Thomas, and they tried to gag the girls and their parents from speaking out, but this woman has spoken out and is still speaking out about it. And so that was really interesting to kind of hear firsthand from somebody who's had the experience of what it's been like helping her daughter through the such disappointment, really.
It's very promising, honestly, to see all these groups, whether it be with the LGB Alliance or the Battle of Ideas, or just generally the Women's Rights Network with local chapters. It's like when we went to Northern Ireland, I was so impressed by the women there because they seemed so passionate, and it's very wholesome. It's very nice to see that the community is there.
It's encouraging, isn't it?
It really is. And so whether it's a big event like the Battle of Ideas or your local chapter, I think this is where real change is happening, because you can't just complain on Twitter. And it's so powerful that these women want to be activists, despite probably a lot of things going on in their normal lives. They still want to be activists and make a change because they see this as an issue.
Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. And what was lovely at Filia, we had a room for an hour where we met. We invited all the Women's Rights Network members who attended Filia to come and join us. And I don't know how many we had. Somebody else will probably know, but it felt like we had about 100 people. So I mean, that was great, and it was so lovely to talk and to meet. And they were from all different parts of the country. It was so good and fabulous. And I have said, and I'll say again, Jess, it's lovely. You know, we went to Northern Ireland and we did that thing. It's lovely. I've been down to Taunton. I've been up to Scotland, of course. And I have said to people, Surrey is just down the road from me, and I say, why don't you invite me along to come and join you? I'd love to be able to get about and see more, meet more people, and see what we can get to. On that note, I'm going to show you this, which one of our members made for me, and she gave it to me at the weekend, and it's just the best. This is she makes foxes and dresses them. Oh, the glasses are just fabulous, aren't they?
Yeah, I really like the glasses.
This was the outfit that I wore for the birthday bash that we had in London. And now there's a little bag. I don't know what I've done with the bag, but this is isn't that just lovely?
Yeah, that's so nice.
You know it's me. I'm not suggesting everybody goes out and makes me think. Please don't. But that was just lovely. The glasses are just. I don't know how she did that.
I know, that's really impressive.
I know. So that was just absolutely great. It was great to meet everybody. Great to see everybody. It's so nice to chat with you, Jess.
On that note, I think this is a good place to end it on for this week. Are we doing it every 2 weeks? I think we agreed.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Talk about, shall we? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, thank you so much for this conversation, Heather. I found this really interesting.
Oh, thank you, Jess. It's always nice to have a chat with you. So I've enjoyed it. All right. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed listening in on our little chat. Check out the work we do on www.womensrights.network. Subscribe to our newsletter, when you'll get some weekly information. Follow us on Twitter